What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Bootstrap, and just in case you didn't know, I changed my name from Bodyworks to Bootstrap Billy. I don't know why. I just like the way that sounds. But today we are talking about Dominick Cruz's signature lunges. So a lot of characters in this game have their own signature thing. Like for example, Fabricio Verdum has that flying sidekick, and Dominick is very well known for his unique movement style. So he has unique lunges in this game. So let's get right to it. Dominick has unique lunges, and if you want to use the regular lunges that every character has, right, the ones that look like this, you can use L1 and then right stick, and you can flick it any direction, left, right, forwards, back, and that'll move you a couple ranges. Now if you want to use Dominick's special lunges, you have to use L1 and the left stick, right? So there's this one, there's the body feint, the switch stance, and then his one going backwards is just a regular lunge. So when you do Dominick's signature lunge towards the rear side of your opponent, it will do this one, this evasive little double duck thing. Looks really cool. And when you lunge to the lead side of your opponent, it'll do the switch stance, which you can throw some kicks out of that I'll be showing you later. And when you do the signature lunge towards him, it does a body feint, which is pretty cool, and you can chain some cool hooks out of that as well, so I'll be showing you that later as well. Keep in mind that when you and your opponent are in opposite stances, it flips. So now when I slip to the lead side, now that I'm in southpaw and Peter Yan is in orthodox, it'll do the little duck and dive thing. Now if I slip to his rear side, it'll do the switch stance, and of course forwards and backwards are still the same. So now let's talk about how you can evade strikes with this lunge in particular right here. So you can evade any straight strike with it, and it works best when you are evading a strike coming from the rear side of your opponent, right? So this lead hand, that's the lead side, and his rear hand is his rear side, just like that. Now again, remember how I said any straight punch. So if it's a rear kick or a hook or an overhand coming from the rear side, you're just going to lunge into it and do more damage to yourself than it would have in the first place. So you can slip strikes like jabs with it, just like that. However, it usually works best if it's like a 1-2 combo. So you can block the first jab just like that and then slip the straight. This is pretty hard to learn the timing of, so I would recommend that you go into practice mode and just rep it out. It's hard to get the timing right, but once you do, it's not too hard to get used to. A tip that I would give is that you can just do this lunge while you're blocking, right? Last year you couldn't use head movement or lunges while blocking, but this year you can. So while you're holding R2, if you hold L1 and then flick the stick, it just immediately goes in that lunge. So you don't even need to let go of block after you block that first jab. Just as soon as you block it, immediately go into the lunge. So now let's talk about Dominick's feint to the body, or his signature lunge going forward. This one isn't really great to use evasively. It works alright. It can dodge any straight punch like a jab or a straight, and it can also dodge lead uppercuts. However, it does not dodge rear uppercuts. Keep that in mind. But like I said, you know, it can dodge straight punches and lead uppercuts, just like that. But the best thing about Dom's feint to the body, or his signature lunge going forward, is that you can chain body hooks from it. So if I do this lunge and then I throw a rear body hook, it plays that cool like signature animation that makes the body hook flow really well. So all I have to do is L1 and then flick the left stick towards my opponent, and then immediately throw that rear body hook, which looks pretty cool. Now the even better thing about this is that you can chain combos into it pretty well. So you could go body hook to lead body hook, you could go body hook to lead hook, or you could go body hook to lead uppercut. All of those work very well. They also flow very well, and honestly they just look awesome. That's one of the coolest things about Dominick, is his unique movement, and no one else in the game has the potential to do this weird like chaining body hook. So now let's talk about how you can use Dominick's switch stance / stutter step lunge. So the important thing to notice here is that when you do this lunge, he is switching stances. He will switch to the opposite stance for just a second when you do this lunge. Now, there's some cool kicks and hooks that you can do out of this. The first one is just his signature leg kick. So for example, if I am in orthodox, right, when I do this, I'm going to switch to southpaw. So from there, I'm going to throw a lead leg kick from southpaw. So that's going to be circle, as circle would throw a rear leg kick in orthodox, but a lead leg kick in southpaw. So I'm going to do the lunge and then throw a lead leg kick from southpaw, just like that. It looks pretty cool, and it has a good bit of range on it as well. Cruz kind of moves forward a little bit while he throws it. Anytime he throws a kick off of that lunge when he's temporarily in southpaw or the opposite stance, it seems like every lead kick he throws gets a speed buff. So while that leg kick is his signature, when you throw a lead head kick, it also seems to throw really fast. Same thing with the lead body kick. It just seems to flow better, and it just goes a little bit faster. You can also throw rear kicks if you'd like. These aren't technically his signature moves, but they still work pretty well, and they flow pretty well, and they flow nicely as well. My favorite when I throw a rear kick out of this lunge is going to be the head kick. It flows very well. So similar to the feint to the body lunge, you can also chain hooks out of the stutter step lunge. So to chain hooks, you're going to need to throw a lead hook from whatever the opposite stance is going to be. So I'm in orthodox right now, so when I do this lunge, I'm going to temporarily switch to southpaw. From southpaw, a lead hook is L1 and triangle. So While I am in that temporary southpaw state, I'm going to throw a lead hook. As you can see, it's a bit of a different animation from just throwing a regular hook, and you can also chain hooks out of this as well, like I mentioned before. So you could go double hook, which is just a lead hook to rear hook, so L1 and then triangle and then square, or you could go a lead hook to lead body hook. That one flows very nicely. Or you could even go lead hook to rear uppercut. These combinations all flow really well and they just look cool. A great way to use this effectively is just try to gauge your opponent's timing. So whenever you think he's going to throw at his jab, that's when you should activate the lunge and then chain those hooks. Something I actually figured out a little bit after I recorded this video that I'm just going to put in here right now is that you can throw a lunging jab into a rear hook and it will also play that switch stance hook animation. So how to throw a lunging jab is you flick the left stick forward and then immediately press square. If you flick them both at the same time, this is what will happen. You kind of throw it while moving forward if you do it at the same time, but if you flick the left stick forward and then immediately hit square after, you get this animation. So now if you do that lunging jab and then follow up with a rear hook, it should look like this. Just like that. It's a little inconsistent, like it doesn't always work for some reason, but I thought I'd just throw that in because it's a cool way to do it. Also, side note on the lunging strikes, if you ever wondered, you can also do them with straight punches as well. So if you're ever outside of punching range but you want to get into it, you can always throw a lunging strike just like that. So that's about it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Out of all of the fighters that have their own signature moves, I think that this is my favorite because this isn't really a move, it's more of a movement. You know, it's cool and it's visually appealing as well. When you use this in a match, your opponent will definitely notice that you have these animations that he's never seen before. Big shout out to Romero17 because I got a lot of this information from his channel, so go check him out. I will link his channel in the description below. And the biggest thing with learning all of this is just rep it out in practice mode. It's a little confusing at first, but you can start to get the timing and the technique down the more and more you practice it. But thank you very, very much for watching. If you like UFC4 tutorials and all that good stuff, I try to drop a video every other day. That's my current goal. So if you like that, consider hitting subscribe. I'd love to have you on the channel. But most importantly, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it and have a great day.